How to estimate construction time. So, have you ever wondered how someone knows how long it is to do a project? Well, that is some of what we're going to be talking about today when we talk about developing a timeline for your project schedule. So, do you think estimating a schedule is just guesswork? What about understanding what goes into that schedule? Ever wonder why one project is longer than the next? These are all things that we will be discussing as I show you the world into developing a project timeline. So, what does estimation have to do with scheduling? Well, when we think of estimating, we think of money and we think of how much something is going to cost. But that's not the only thing we estimate in construction. We also have to estimate the duration of how long it's going to take us to be able to perform the work designated for this project. So this is where estimation and scheduling meet. And the two have to live together. And so if you're going to be an estimator, you might as well learn how to schedule. And if you're going to be a scheduler, you might as well start estimating. So what we're going to be going through today is just really a clear understanding of how to use estimating in the development of your project timeline. This is going to come in understanding the labor, material, and equipment involved in the project. The labor is going to tell us how long it takes to complete something. It's going to tell us what is going to be necessary as far as the skill sets. More difficult work or more detailed work is going to create a longer time frame necessary for understanding. Estimation of our labor is critically important. We don't only identify how many hours it takes someone to be able to complete something, but we also have to identify how much time detail is going to take in order for them to complete the deliverable. An example might be a bathroom wall that has tile on it. If you have a simple one stripe at the top of your tile pattern, then it's not a problem at all. But if you have an intricate design that is going to put the school's mascot into the tile, then obviously that's going to take a lot more time, even though the area or the space is the same size. So we need to be able to take those things into consideration when we're identifying and assigning time to that particular task. With materials, we need to know and understand what we call as a procurement schedule. How far in advance do we need to be able to submit a submittal, get approval for that submittal, order the materials, and then hope that the materials get to the job site before the contractor needs them to install. And so understanding the procurement that happens before it even gets to the project and putting that in your schedule is going to be extremely important. We also have materials like concrete that when we pour it that day, it doesn't mean that it's ready the following day for us to start erecting steel. So there are cure times that need to be considered when we are identifying the duration when working on the scheduled time for a task. Then we have equipment. So everybody who rents equipment knows that you can rent it for 2 weeks and it may be a cost savings, but as soon as you rent it for a third week, you might as well keep it for the entire month. And so understanding those particular estimation and durations and how those work with the feasibility of your project budget and your project schedule is going to help you understand how to put in estimated timeframes for labor, material, and equipment. When looking at those durations, we have to really take a look at what's happening in real life. What outside influences have the potential of impacting my project? And if they are impacting my project, how long and what does that duration look like? So a lot of that can come in weather delays, a union strike, could happen. The availability of workforce. A lot of times during the summer, a lot of contractors are booked up and have all of the work that they're going to be performing for the year. And so that backlog means that they're not going to be able to get to your job site in a timely manner. So what does that look like on your particular timeline and on your project schedule? The same could be true for equipment. During the summer when there's a lot of road construction going on, is that scraper or is that blade going to be available for you to be able to rent it during the time frame that you want? And so knowing and understanding those outside factors is going to help contribute to an accurate project timeline. We've talked a little bit about historical data. Historical data is a tremendous tool for estimators, and we use it when we're trying to calculate the cost of a project, and we identify how much things cost us in the past, how much time that took, and how we can apply it to future projects. But this historical data also works for us when developing a scheduled timeline. In those past projects, we can identify potential issues that arose that caused our project to be delayed. We can see where, knowing right off the bat that in that last project we were delayed 12 weeks because their window shipment took so long to get. And so now we want to have an awareness of how that's going to be applied to the future project that we're doing. So knowing and understanding the historical data around the different aspects of your timeline is going to be critical in being able to kind of anticipate any of those potential issues or problems that might arise before they do, and using that preventative method of getting in and securing a duration in the project timeline to be able to provide some protection in those areas that you've had problems in the past. Okay, if there's anything that I cannot stand, it is a timeline that somebody just threw together. When I'm asking someone for a project timeline, the full intention is for them to use that as a tool. I'm using it as a tool as a construction manager, and I want to be able to see it and know what's coming up in my project. So using it for things like a 3-week look ahead in a weekly progress meeting is very important. Being able to identify the baseline schedule and see how far off of that we are in performing different duties and tasks in order for us to see what might need acceleration or what might be able to be set aside for a little bit of time while we focus on other aspects of the project. So making sure that I have an accurate project schedule is going to be critical as I am moving forward and developing the durations of different tasks. Now, I will say, I love my dad more than anything in the world. But if you asked him how long it would take him to build a road, he would give you a number that he knew he could build a road in that amount of time. The problem is that he often wasn't thinking of the outside influences that would impact or get in the way of him being able to perform the work at the speed of which he knew and was confident that he could do it. So when we're looking at creating these timelines, we also need to take into consideration those outside influences, like too many subcontractors working in one specific area, or a subcontractor not having their portion of work done when the schedule said that they would, so that we could then move on and complete our work. But then also knowing and understanding that if we put a little bit of contingency in there and a little bit of a safety net around what we're telling them, we can always be in that position of underpromise and overperform. And so it gives us the opportunity to be able to look really good by knowing that we can get it done in 3 days, but if we tell them 5 and we get it done in 4, then we're still the hero. So we want to make sure that we're using contingencies in safely providing timelines and durations that are still accurate, but give some flexibility to all of the different things that can happen on a project site. We've gone into why it's so important to understand that having an accurate estimation information for the duration of the timeline of what it's going to take to get this project done is so critical to the success of a construction project. I would like to be able to be your mentor in walking you through on what that's going to take in order for you to be able to develop successful project timelines, and we can do that together in Construction Management Online. So if you look in the description and you think becoming a construction manager is something that you want to do, then grab my book, Are You Built to Be a Construction Manager?